your 2025 NAIC champion, going up against Carson Confer, former world champion, former international champion in their own right. So it's going to be a pretty big powerhouse of a matchup for top 8 here. Federico using pretty much the same team that they used to claim that NAIC title earlier this year with the Miraidon, Lunala, Urshifu, Incineroar, Ursaluna, Whimsicott, basically one of the teams to beat right now in the VGC 2025 Regulation I format. Carson making their return to the stream with the very interesting team of Miraidon, Incineroar, Calyrex Ice, Ditto, Annihilate, and Grimmsnarl. So Slim, looking at these two teams, how do you think they're going to match up into one another?
This one's kind of interesting just because we do know Federico's team. You've seen it everywhere. It is the age-old saying of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I know how to play this team to a T. My track record proves itself. But the one thing I'm very interested in, just not just the Ditto, which is always the wild card because you can potentially take a restricted of someone else's, but Grimmsnarl. Having a dark type is just really amazing here. Plus T-Wave is also an amazing thing you could use here. Maybe not necessarily in this matchup because there's not really things you want to bring it into, but normally when you're going against Whimsicott or something like that, you just need something to like potentially set up screens and just delay as much as possible, bulk out the team as much as possible. But I think the one thing here I am worried about if I'm Federico potentially is the Annihilate, because it's kind of one of those like, you know, wild cards where it's like, oh, what if they lead this? Am I prepared for it? What do I have to switch in? Things like that. So I think everything else is pretty standard. You have your Ensign, you have your Miraidon, you have your Calyrex, that's fine. But it's the 3 at the end that you always got to worry about and how they play into your team.
Yeah, I do think the Grimmsnarl has been a huge part of Carson's strategy. And also the Ditto is going to be a interesting Pokemon to see how it functions in this game. You have a lot of options. You could copy a restricted Pokemon, you can copy Incineroar, you can copy Ursaluna if that Pokemon decides to show up. But Federico going to be going with the Miraidon.
And there's that Grimmsnarl.
The Miraidon Grimmsnarl. Yeah, so leading your restricted Pokemon, that Miraidon, into each other's Miraidons, and then you have the support options. So Whimsicott can do a lot with Tailwind. It can do, it can threaten some damage here with Moonblast. It can do a lot of things. Meanwhile, Grimmsnarl just wanting to get the screens up, as we see the Terra from Carson's side going to be eating up that Draco Meteor with the Assault Vest plus the Light Screen, as Electro Drift going into the opposing Miraidon, potentially trying to catch a Terra Fairy there from Federico, but unfortunately not taking the bait. Going to be doing very minuscule amount of damage, as both sides going to trade screens and try to get as much damage into the opposing restricted as possible.
Yeah, very interesting to see Carson just go all in on that turn, just like, hey, I just want to do as maximum damage as possible. I think I can call this, but kind of paying for it, and it's unfortunately blow it early. I don't think you wanted to get to start it that early, but Grimmsnarl going for Spirit Break here on the Lunala, able to break the Shadow Shield and also put it at -1, and Calyrex in a really, really nice spot to be in because you can just kind of spam Glacial Lance here. Lunala continue to have, with Light Screen up, you're going to have to keep eating Spirit Break after Spirit Break after Spirit Break. Urshifu does switch in, and we do see the Moongeist Beam doing still a significant amount of damage. Spirit Break just continues to just keep doing damage here, as Calyrex is such a elite seed, and all of a sudden Lunala just really kind of turned into almost a dead slot at this point. As you do see the T-Wave come out going to the Urshifu, that's unfortunate because now you're just continuing to spam, and we do see the first para already.
Yeah, very interesting move there to click Thunder Wave and Trick Room, but Thunder Wave showing why it's not just a speed control tool, it is also a tool to let your opponent not be able to play the game here. So Lunala does have Wide Guard, so it does have utility in this particular position, as we interestingly see the Urshifu does outspeed the Calyrex and is able to fire off a Surging Strikes, not caring about any sort of screen if Reflect were able to go up there, but just completely deletes the Incineroar off of the field there, as Urshifu going to go for the Terra Ghost to avoid being faked out here. It even underspeeds the Incineroar, so actually Carson's Trick Room, or Carson's Trick Room actually turning against him here, as he has created a monster with this Urshifu under Trick Room, and now without the ability to click Glacial Lance, this Urshifu is able to pick up 2 quick knockouts, but now with the Lunala off the field, the Wide Guard option is gone. So we'll have to see if the Urshifu can break through one more turn of paralysis to potentially get one more devastating Surging Strikes in here. So, which is going to be able to hit the Miraidon very hard because it doesn't have its Dragon typing anymore. But now with Terra's burned on both sides, Calyrex Ice kind of in a good spot here with this Glacial Lance, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing that's kind of interesting is the fact that Calyrex wasn't able to get a boost just because it's been slowly just chipping away, but only because the Leech Seed is able to get that KO. As we do see Urshifu get paralyzed, and there's a critical hit, but honestly, don't know if it mattered there. And that's a double KO. I just talked about no boost, and all of a sudden we have 2 boosts, and Carson just go ahead and Fede just like, you know what, you got this. Yeah, let's just run this back.
Yeah, like it was almost looking kind of awkward there for Carson because, like, okay, you have the Lunala on the field that could just spam wide guard, making Calyrex kind of useless, but the Leech Seed actually setting up for the long game, setting up the KO on the Lunala. Yeah, you can let Urshifu get a couple KOs. Unfortunately, he does succumb to the paralysis in the end game there, but yeah, Carson able to close it out. As interestingly, the Defiant boost on the Annihilate here. So Annihilate actually making an appearance in this game alongside Miraidon as Federico switches up his Miraidon's partner this game as it is Incineroar this time.
Yeah, this is one of the weird wild cards that I was kind of like, okay, what happens now? Final Gambit comes out, and they're just like that, restricted, gone. And this is the thing I'm talking about. You have to like always account for like, oh, these weird situations where, oh, I wasn't expecting this mine. Boom, that's 1 KO down. And you bring in your own instant now. You can break the Shadow Shield. You can pivot. There's a lot of options for Carson now. And Fede's already on the back foot after turn 1.
Yeah, this Lunala is, I would say, in a much better position than it was in Game 1 because now you have the Electric Seed. There's no Grimmsnarl on the opposing side of the field, so you have no worry of letting your special attack get forward here, but there is a Snarl. That is a critical hit. That is a very costly critical hit. But there is, yeah, and the parting shot. I was just saying how there's no way for Lunala's stats to get lowered. I completely forgot about both of these Pokemon having these moves that lower Lunala's special attack. But I mean, Lunala, as we saw in the first game, does have plenty of utility here to be able to click the wide guard to block this Ursaluna from getting hit by any of these Glacial Lances here, but no wide guard. Lunala switching out for Incineroar, just trying to get the Intimidate off here, potentially predicting a Leech Seed from the opposing side as Headlong Rush going to be sent into the Incineroar, which was formerly the Miraidon. Going to be an easy KO as the Leech Seed goes into the Ursaluna. So Ursaluna, now with a bunch of its stats lowered, is on a super timer here between Burn and Leech Seed.
Yeah, the weird thing is though, Calyrex still in kind of a odd spot because there's an Instant and there's still a Lunala, so it's kind of like, how do I get through those two? You can set up as many Leech Seeds all you want, but Ursaluna just kind of like, hey, let's do this the right way. Where why don't we take away all your friends, isolate you, and then see if you can actually beat us? So Carson in a pretty odd spot. I don't know if this is winnable. I mean, potentially, because Lunala, did take a lot of damage. Shadow Shield is broken, but Instant's kind of the issue here as we do see Glacial Lance comes out. Does decent amount of damage, but here comes the knockoff, and now you're all of a sudden not getting that recovery that you kind of need. As we do see the Terrafire come out, and we do see another Leech Seed.
Yeah, dodge on the Leech Seed, unfortunate there. Terrafire just to avoid being weak to the knockoff, weak to the Moongeist Beam, not going to be enough. 3 against 1. Unfortunately, Calyrex can't quite do it all, as Fedecampo going to bring themselves back into the set with a Game 2 victory, as we now head into this decisive Game 3. Showing how in this matchup that, losing your restricted Pokemon early is a very huge change in the momentum in the game there. Just trading the Annihilate for the Miraidon there ended up being a I guess a little bit of a lackluster trade, but Fedecampo able to play the Trick Room game plan with Lunala and Ursaluna, and now Carson's going to be in a position where, okay, now that we've seen how potent of a threat that Ursaluna can be under Trick Room, we can see how we can try to stop that, maybe prevent Trick Room from going up in the first place, or maybe just trying to slow down the Ursaluna as much as possible, as we're going to see a repeat of leads from Game 2 as the Annihilate and Miraidon are going up against Miraidon and Incineroar.
Yeah, another turn where Annihilate just gets to potentially do what it does here. We do see the Terra turn 1, and we do see Close Combat just opting to, I don't want to lose this Mon just yet, so let me just go for a lot of damage here. As we do see Annihilate just drop, and you're kind of still the same situation. You don't Final Gambit, but you still go down. At least you take something with you. So now there's no more at least instant spam, which actually is pretty valuable for Calyrex, and we know it's locked in to Dazzling Gleam, so honestly, you're kind of okay with what you just saw if you're Carson.
Yeah, I would say that, getting Incineroar off the board is potentially more valuable because now you have a Miraidon that's locked not into a a move that's boosted by its same type attack bonus. You have the weak Dazzling Gleam. Of course, Terra Fairy is still on the board here, but yeah, you have the Incineroar, the fake out positioning tool that was so pivotal in game 1 for Fede Comp, or game 2 for Fede Compo, just being taken off. So once again, you're trading a Pokemon for another one in the first turn of the game here, but we'll have to see how the interaction between the Calyrex and the Lunala is going to go forward here, as Incineroar on Carson's side is going to come out, as Lunala coming into the Electric Terrain gets its Electric Seed boost, and yeah, this Miraidon on Carson's side still plenty healthy, still able to take up these special attacks with the Assault Vest item. Just another weak Dazzling Gleam, as it's going to have to take a Draco Meteor into the Miraidon on Fede Compo's side, as the Moongeist Beam actually not able to pick up the knockout on the Miraidon. Incineroar gets a critical parting shot here, and we'll have to see what this last Pokemon here. It is the Ursaluna, so no Trick Room, not yet. So Miraidon, it is a little weak here, so maybe not able to get a lot of damage here. So maybe Fede Compo setting themselves up to get a Trick Room up this turn and just letting Ursaluna take the game. But you know, it's gonna have to battle through an Intimidate or two with that instant still being around.
Absolutely, and I think this is one of the reasons why we didn't see the Terra Fairy, just because you want to opt to just go for the Terra Ghost, so that way you can't get faked out and you can just go for continuous damage. So we do see Earthquake come out, not able to pick up though. There is no Guts boosters yet, but Lunala just like slowly but surely it's happening again, where we're going to start seeing the Leechy being a huge issue here. Ensign able to come down and get the Intimidate, but honestly, Ensign has done his job. It's a 2v3 right now, and Calyrex sitting pretty because Ensign was gone early, and I think it makes a huge difference. And we do see the Terra Fairy come out, and we do see just Knockoff going to the Lunala, just trying to get as much damage as possible and just slowly chipping away. But Ursaluna under Trick Room, this is exactly the place you want to be.
Yeah, but unfortunately for Fede Compo, these are the only 2 Pokemon he has left. He has an Intimidate on the Ursaluna, even though now it has its burn from the Guts boost. As its Guts boost from the burn. I don't know, because like Lunala is on a timer. It only has about 3 turns of Leech Seed left, and even that's if it doesn't get hit by another Glacial Lance. And if you're spending all this time having to Wide Guard, you're not really getting any extra damage off. So Miraidon is just going to sacrifice itself for the greater good in order to bring back the Incineroar, which is going to fake out, going to be able to stall another turn of Lunala's Leech Seed, going to be bringing it closer to going down. And then once that Wide Guard goes away, Ursaluna does not have the damage unless it's able to score a couple of lucky critical hits here, as we just see no Wide Guard, both sides taking in the Glacial Lance. And Ursaluna, at this point, you have one more turn, and you have a Protect on the opposing side. And with that, Carson, Confer going to take the set and move on to top 4. Very well played to both players, but ultimately it is going to be Carson taking the set and moving on to the top 4.
Yeah, really great set, and just like Carson just opting to just like understand, like, hey, if I can just remove this Ensign, I have enough where I can just like, okay, I can 2v1 this, no problem. The Ensign was just there. I just need the Cycle Fake out a little bit, and the Miraidon is done its job. It took a Draco, got the Miraidon out of there. Like, you're in a perfect position. Once the Leech Seed went up and there was no Pokemon to switch out of it, it was only a matter of time.